Brittany. So today is gonna be a different video that I'm going to do, and because last time I did a video on TV shows that I grew up watching quite young, I'm gonna be doing that except movies that I grew up watching. So I'm not gonna count from the ages 1 to 3, but I'm gonna count from age 4 to 12. And yeah, I have a long list of movies that I grew up watching, and yes, there are, I would say, a lot that I think children would watch at a young age, but then there are some movies I did watch which are not exactly suitable for children to watch, but I still watched it anyway. So this is that video on movies that I grew up watching. So yeah, I remember. So this is yeah, these are the movies I grew up watching. So it's like from age 4 to 12. And if you guys want to see me do videos on TV shows and movies that I also grew up watching from by the time I was a teen till now as an adult, I will do that, and I think that will also be a very good, interesting video, because then there'll be this long list of TV shows and movies. So I'll do that if you want to see that. I will, but either way, I'll still do it. So I would say, unlike the TV shows I did grow up watching, now if you want to see that one, I'll put it up here in the iCard. I think it's up here. And then because like I said, unlike the TV shows, there were some TV shows I did like watching quite young, but then there's just, I think, several I did not really care for, and I just didn't like at all. And yeah. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave it up here in the iCard, as I mentioned. So, but now the movies I grew up watching, most of them I actually really liked, loved. I think honestly there's been at least a couple movies I probably have seen that I probably did not like. And I think one, not only I did not like, but one that completely terrified me. So I didn't really like grew up watching it, like watching it over and over, but it's just something I saw maybe once, and I was just like completely terrified by it, and that is arachnophobia. So I'll get into the story times later, like to share that, but right now I'm just gonna go through this long list of movies. So here are the movies I grew up watching quite young. So Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Wolfman, Frankenstein. Now those are the ones I can remember watching of those classic old B monster movies, the Universal monster movies. Those are the only ones I can remember I did watch, because I don't remember watching like The Bride of Frankenstein or The Invisible Man. What else? There's Dracula. I don't know, have I seen Dracula? Like, what, 5, 6, 7? I don't know, but I don't think so. So I think there was just some I actually did watch, and there were some I didn't watch until later when I was a teen. So yeah, so these were the few movies of the few classic monster movies that I did grow up watching. So Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Wolf Man, Frankenstein, and then there's Young Frankenstein. Top Secret, What About Bob, The Little Rascals, The Land Before Time, and of course I have seen, because there are many like sequels to The Land Before Time, but I never saw like all of them. And there were only two I remember watching, but it was out of orders, I think. Yeah, I never saw 2 or 3, but I think I saw 4 and 5, which is The Land Before Time, Journey Through the Mists, and The Mysterious Island. So there were like those were the only ones I remember watching, but I didn't watch like the rest of the sequels to The Land Before Time. And then there's Toy Story, Toy Story 2, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Mary Poppins, Freaky Friday, and of course not the one with Jimmy Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan, not that one, because that one didn't came out until, I'm trying to think, 2003, 2004, around there. So I didn't watch it until a bit later, but it was like the original Freaky Friday, The Love Bug, Old Yeller, which is quite sad, Swiss Family Robinson, Edward Scissorhands, Men in Black, and Men in Black 2. I'm not sure if I have it on here. Oh, and that's another thing, Independence Day, that's one of them. The Game, Real Genius, Pocahontas, Joseph King of Dreams, The Prince of Egypt, The Edge, Jurassic Park 3, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, The Mummy, Ice Age, at least the first Ice Age, because it came out 2002. An American Tail, Fivel Goes West, Batman Returns, Balto 2. Now, what's funny though, because I remember having Balto 2, Wolf Quest. I had it on video cassette, but I never saw the first one, and that was the weird thing, because I never saw the first Balto movie. I only saw part 2, where Balto, Jenna, where they have a daughter, Alu, and where she actually runs off, and she wants to find a place where she feels like she belongs somewhere. And so she goes on this quest, this journey to find, I think to find somewhere, to find a place where she can be herself and to feel where she actually belongs somewhere. So I remember always watching part 2, and I've actually enjoyed it. Yeah, I never saw the first one. I don't think I saw the first one until I was like 13, and then I liked that one too. So yeah. Stuart Little, and then I think there was Stuart Little 2, but I think it depends when that came out. I think it was 2001, 2002, around there. I'm not sure. It could be. Twister, Mission Impossible, with Tom Cruise, and yeah, that's my favorite. Like, out of all the sequels to Mission Impossible, which I do like, but the first one is my favorite. Beauty and the Beast, of course, the animated one and everything. So yeah, that, which I do love. Bambi, The Fox and the Hound, The Mummy Returns, The Ghost in the Darkness, which that is not a movie suited for young children to watch, but my sister and I did grow up watching this, so it was actually like, you know, it was a movie where it was like part of our childhood. It was part of mine too because it was just a movie I grew up watching, and despite how dark it is, because of the fact that it was based on a true story of what really happened, but I just remember liking the movie and I felt bad for what was going on. But at the same time, like I said, it was just a good movie, and I do think it's very underrated, and I think for those who haven't seen it should see it. It's a good movie. The Mask, and here are more here. Uncle Buck, Thunderheart, Tombstone, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Spirit Stellan of the Cimarron, Three Amigos, The Lion King, Jurassic Park, and Batman Forever. So those are all the movies that at least I can list, that I know, that I can remember, that I grew up watching. So yeah, it's just a lot on here, and I will also leave that list in the description, in the description below. But in case if I think of any other movies I grew up watching, I will put those movies on the list in the description. But yeah, so yeah, I would say honestly, so with the Indiana Jones movies, I remember liking those. I did like Raiders of the Lost Ark, although when it came to that scene, close to the ending where, where they open the Ark of the Covenant and you see what looks like these spirits that are coming out, and because they opened it, which they shouldn't have done, and then oh yeah, I think they had cameras there because they were gonna record it, and I think they thought that because if they were gonna show this, expose this to, through the cameras, that somehow I think that they were gonna gain some kind of power from it. I mean, I'm not sure what the reason was. I would have to look that up again. And you know how one guy, how they're all screaming at one where his head like exploded in a way, and then this other guy where he's like screaming, but then you see where his face is melting. Ugh, like that was graphic. So I don't think I watched it that much, but with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, I actually did watch over and over again because it was just, different, and I actually just really loved it, and I still do. It's actually one of my favorite Indiana Jones movies. And I didn't know, because I didn't even watch Temple of Doom, but it wasn't until when I was a teenager that when I did watch Temple of Doom, I thought, okay, I never heard of this one, and I thought, I don't remember watching this one. But then it wasn't until when I did watch it, there are some things that I saw in that movie that I came to realize, okay, there is a reason I did not watch this movie quite young, because it showed some things that were gross, that were disgusting, especially like at that table of what they were having to eat. And not just that, but there was how that one was just a bit more darker because of the villain, and because how he was ripping people's heart out. It's like, and then plus like killing them in this like really hot fire, and we're pretty much kills them. So yeah, so I can see why I didn't watch it that young, because I know my mom knew about that movie, and I know she would not approve for for her young daughters to watch that movie because it was a bit more dark. And you know what, I'm glad of that, because yeah, I would have been really scared. I would have been like, what the heck, like, I don't like this, I would not have liked it. I mean, it is good, but again, I feel like even when I do watch it, and because it's a little bit more dark, then yeah, the whole thing about that kind of film taking people's heart out, and I think having to do with some kind of magic powers or whatever it is, like, it just feels uncomfortable. It's very unsettling. But yeah, other than that, yeah, those are the movies I grew up watching. And yeah, I did grow up watching the Batman movies. I don't think I saw the first one as much, maybe a few times, and especially Batman Returns I did not watch very often, only because even that one's dark, and because that one has a more of a bit darker tone to, much more, maybe a bit more than the first, and because of that, that's why I didn't feel comfortable with that dark tone, which I still don't. And yeah, so I remember even when it came to the part where Christopher Walken's character, of his death scene, I remember my mom and my older sisters, they would tell me and my younger sister, not to look, cover your eyes, and I remember like covering my eyes, and I'm like, what's going on? And then I didn't know exactly how he died, but then until watching it much later when I was a bit older, and then seeing that, I remember I actually was scared, so I freaked out. I'm like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm like, what? So yeah, I'm just glad I never saw the aftermath quite young, because that would have probably traumatized me. Now Batman Forever, I gotta admit, Batman Forever is the one I've watched the most, only because I just I love it more. I really do. Like, I love it more than Batman Returns. I mean, I do like it, but I just love Batman Forever, and that was like the one Batman movie that I could just watch over and over again, and I did. And Jurassic Park was also one of those movies I could watch over and over, and The Lion King, and all these other ones as well. So yeah, those are the ones I grew up watching, so I hope you enjoyed this video. And oh, and there's one movie, only one, that I remember seeing quite young. I think I'm trying to think, either 7 or 8, around there, but I didn't own it on DVD. My aunt did, and so I remember when we were visiting her, yeah, there was a time, yeah, where me, my sister, my mom were, we were just visiting my aunt, my uncle, and I remember somehow someone put on the movie Arachnophobia, and I remember being so scared, and of course seeing the word, I didn't know what it meant. I didn't even know how to pronounce the word, but I just remember thinking like, oh, what? But again, I'm thinking like, okay, that's a long word, and I thought, does it have anything to do with this movie? Turns out, yeah, it does, because it means fear of spiders, which I did not know that, and So yeah, you know, of course, as watching the movie and everything, you know, for the first time, and just seeing how it turns out, I was like, okay, you know, at first everything seemed fine, but then when it came to um, the spiders, especially the big ones, it was oh boy, I remember thinking like, I don't know, I think I was just so scared I didn't know what to think because I I remember seeing small spiders at the house I grew up in, but never once I saw a big one. So to me, to see have seen these big spiders in the movie was just like so unnerving. It was so unsettling that I remember I pretty much was freaking out. But you know, in my mind, but on the outside, I'm pretty much, you know, frozen, and I'm like, I didn't know spiders could be that big. Like, that's terrifying. And I just remember thinking, this is horrible. Like, I am scared. So I remember watching Arachnophobia just once. And like I said, I was either 7 or 8 around that time. And I was terrified out of my mind. And I'm just like, you know, and I think, not I think, I know. I know that even when it came to the ending, and of course, now when I saw Jeff Daniels in there, I knew who he was because I grew up watching, oh, that's what I forgot to put, 101 Dalmatians. Like, I've grew up watching the animated one and the live action one with Glenn Close and Jeff Daniels. That's what I forgot to mention. So I grew up watching those too. So yeah, I recognized him because, you know, he was Roger in 101 Dalmatians. Bleh. And then to have seen him in this movie, you know, and to see him play this character where he has the fear of spiders and to see how terrified he is, I thought, I don't blame you. I feel the same way. And so I can relate to his character when it comes to that. So, yep. And honestly, I remember watching the ending where he had to fight off 2 of them. One was the general, and one was the queen. And just by talking about it, I'm getting chills. I'm getting uneasy. Ooh. So yeah, so for him to fight off 2 of them, it was just like brave, but at the same time it was so terrifying to watch. And honestly, that scene, the wine cellar scene, especially where, I don't want to say it, but you know how it gets more intense and scary? Well, that scene, especially where when he's frozen and he's just like, he can't move, and it's crawling up on his leg, and you know how the camera got so close that it showed its, you know, yeah, I remember screaming. And okay, that actually really, okay, that part traumatized me quite young, and that's why since then, because of that movie, I knew that I just, you know, have this fear of spiders. And I'm sorry if this somehow took if this took a different turn from talking about movies I grew up watching to the one time that I've watched Arachnophobia when I was quite young, but I just thought I should let you know. And hope you don't mind that if this video is going on for a bit long. So yeah, I mean, hope you still enjoy this, but I wish I could share other, story times on like when I first watched this movie or that movie or so forth, but it doesn't have to be about the spider movie. But still, and I will do that. It's just that well, what I mean is I will still do like a story time kind of video on the first time that I've watched this particular movie. I will still do that, and those ones are called back in time watches, so yeah. And honestly, I don't know what movie to talk about. I mean, yeah, I could go on about other movies and all that, but I'm just gonna end it here. And yeah, hope you enjoy. I can't speak. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and yeah. So to see more movie content like this and reactions and dream videos, please subscribe and like the video and share the video as well. That would be really helpful. So hope you enjoyed this, and leave a comment down below if you have grew up watching any of these movies, or which movies did you grow up watching. So that's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.